Would I have used AI to help me write my book if AI existed back then the way that it is now, where it's so powerful? And the answer is absolutely yes. But before you come for my head, hear me out because I think that after you hear my argument, I think that you will be like, oh, that makes sense. And you will be, yeah, I think you'll realize that this topic is way more complicated than you think. And there's a giant gray area. Okay. Now, let me just start on talking about my specific case. My book that I started writing years ago, in fact, the general idea, I would say 80% of it was already done in my head 15 years ago. But it was uh, in 2020 that I actually started putting pen to paper, so to speak. Now, the reason why I would have used it was because my book was a linguistic book. And I had to spend so many countless hours over a year and a half verifying and looking up facts about words, like for example, the etymology of certain words. I'm not going to get too deep into this nerdy stuff because I'm a huge language nerd. I speak multiple languages fluently right now. I'm writing a book on an indigenous language in South America where I spend a lot of my time. Anyways, nerdy stuff. But the point is, there were so many manual things that I had to do that what would have taken, let's say, 4 hours every single day for 3 months, I could have done in like 2 days with AI, and it would not have changed the results. It was for research purposes. Now, that's one argument. The other argument is my specific book that I'm referring to, the first book that I ever published out there into the world, all right, this linguistic book that I'm telling you about, is that it taught a lot of patterns of a specific language. And so I would have to I developed this system of using like certain base words and then another group of certain base words that were kind of in a different category. And then using those as a reoccurring fundamental basis to show patterns. So these two sections of words with this pattern, these same two sections of words with the second pattern, a third pattern, a fourth pattern, a fifth pattern. And I did all of that manually. Okay. And I lost thousands of dollars. I probably should have I could probably like actually do a calculation of how many thousands of dollars I lost, but because it took me a year and a half to do all of this manual work, all right, to get all these patterns and everything, I I did some recent testing uh, to see how that would have been with AI doing the same thing. And I love AI. I fell in love with it, okay? Because and I realized that that year and a half that it took me to do all these manual things with the patterns and the verifying of etymology and cognate words and all these other things, wow, I could have had the project done in just a few months and it still would have been me. It was just would have been faster on verifying data, faster on putting patterns in the order that is in my head, and it would have been the exact same thing. All right. Just it would have been working with like a really fast assistant. Now, before anyone gets mad, all right, me being a person that's obviously like super pro I do not think that you should have AI completely write a book for you and then you slap your name on there because you're not the writer. But there are other levels to it where maybe you present an idea. What if you write a whole page on what the next chapter should be, and you have all these very specific details and stuff like that, and then you work with AI to help you write that chapter, and then you and then when it presents to you, you work with AI to refine that chapter, change things that you don't like. That's not that specific example. Am I going to say it's right or wrong? It's for an upcoming video. My name is Zach from Clarion Bridge Publishing.